All right, I'm gonna take out the clock capacitor in the original Xbox here. Got a couple things here, soldering gun, some tips, some solder. I got the new capacitor. Got some flux off to the side, so I'm gonna open it up. Shouldn't be too hard. I'm not very skilled at it, but let's give it a shot. Now, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I read somewhere that if your original Xbox is made after a certain point in 2004, I think it's August, then it has an updated clock capacitor. So this one is 2003. So you're going to go ahead and flip it over. I already pulled back the rubber tabs here in all four corners. Now you have 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're going to want to take a scalpel and just expose that through the label on each one. And then they will pop off. Once you unscrew them all, they are a Star Bit. I have an assortment right here. And the size on this is a 20, if that makes sense. All right, go ahead and flip it over, and let's pull the shell off now. Okay, now that we have that exposed here, we have the hard drive and disk drive. Now we're gonna wanna go ahead and get the hard drive out of the way. So we're gonna have to unplug this wire here. There's a little, it's gonna look like you might break something, but you won't. It just pops right out. You just push that little clip and pops right out. And then you just have one Star Bit right there. And then this wire right here, you're gonna wanna untangle it out of there. Usually once that's unplugged and that's unscrewed, this will just pop out and I can just set it off to the side. If you're wondering, that screw there, that Star Bit, that's a 10 bit right here. And then you will need an extension to get down to those lower ones there, which I have right here. Pull that out of the side. Now let's go ahead and remove the disk drive with the T10 Star Bit. Now that that's pulled up there, I just pulled out this little white end of this wire here out of that part for the DVD drive. And then I'm going to pull this out as well so I can just remove the whole thing, get it off to the side so we can work. Also, it'd be a good time to mention, make sure the power is off. Nothing is plugged in before you do any of this. Okay, now that we got everything out of the way, we're gonna look down here and you can kind of see there's some around here. I'm gonna have to clean that up with rubbing alcohol. But what you're looking for here is this big one here. It's the one right to the right there. And it says C7G2 and C7G3, the little tiny one there. And you might want to clean everything else up while you're in here as well. I have another video of doing the thermal paste change, and then I took an air compressor, blew everything out. So once you're in there, it's probably a good time to do that. So I'm gonna get in there and pull that one out. Get some needle nose. I'm gonna try to wiggle it loose first. If that doesn't work, I'm just gonna go lightly with needle nose pliers and then pull it out, expose the leads. And you can see I just wiggled that out. And then it is right here. Now a little of the juice came out, so I just wiped that up quick. Like I said, you can kind of see some over here, which I don't like, but I'm gonna clean that up with alcohol and a Q-tip there and get in there and just kind of clean it up and let this thing last as long as it can. And these things are pretty much like a ticking time bomb, basically. I mean, the longer they're left in there, the more damage it can do, so it's probably a good idea to get this bad boy out of there. So what I have here is just some isopropyl alcohol. Just gonna put some on this Q-tip here and just work out some of this corrosion, clean it up the best I can, and get in there, especially right where the capacitor came out. This stuff works pretty good. It's just, you know, it dries quick. You know, it doesn't leave anything on there. I don't think this corrosion has been on there too long. You can see it working up. But it hasn't been on there too long, I don't think, because I don't really see any severe or anything damage. It's coming right out too, just that corrosion, but I'm gonna get in there and just clean this up. As you can see, that cleaned up a lot better. Looks pretty good, all that corrosion's gone. I'm gonna zoom in right there. And those leads are all clipped, nice and clean. And it should be good for now. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take out the board. I got a few screws in here I gotta back off. Got my capacitors over here. And I'm going to unclip all these. This one, this one, this one, this one, that one, and then the fan back here. And that should be good. Once I back those out, I can pull the board out. Okay, now I got everything unplugged, got all the screws out. I also had to do these two back here. Now this should just lift right out and pull back towards the front. Like that, nice and easy. I'll need two hands here just to get around those wires, but it's loose now. Okay, I have a few things here. I got my soldering gun, got my solder, got my flux right here. Have the new capacitor and some solder wick. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over. Now keep in mind, these are directional, so you're gonna want to pay attention to that when you put it in. Just putting a little flux around it before I heat it up. Now I'm going to need two hands for this, but I'm just going to heat that up and stick the wick on it. And then I'll suck that onto it, pull it off, and I'll get those holes opened up for the new one. All right, we finally got it out, those two right there. It was kind of stubborn, but finally got it through. Just gonna throw some flux right there before I slide it in. Remember, this one's directional as well. So you're gonna wanna keep an eye on that where you can see the line here. When you put the new one in, it's gonna be like that as well. Once I got it in there, I just bent the legs in the opposite direction. Now I'm gonna go ahead and solder it. And there you have it, I'm all set. It's not the cleanest, but it'll get the job done. I have never soldered in a capacitor in my life, but I figured it out, so if you follow along, you can do it as well. I just trimmed up the sides of the legs coming out, so it was nice and tight in there now. Now I'm going to go ahead, put everything back in the way I took it out, plug everything back in, and we should be good to go. All right, got it all back together and we're all set. Hope this helps with whatever problem you have. If you have the same one I did,